Hi, I want to share with you today how religion ruined my life and how I think detrimental religion in any shape and form can be for a person, particularly fundamentalist Christian religion. Um, I grew up in a pretty much atheistic family, even though my background religion, so to speak, was Eastern Orthodox. This was only our cultural background, as opposed to, you would say I'm Christian, or as opposed to being a Muslim. Or wouldn't call it faith or belief in a personal God in any strict sense of the word, or in any evangelical Christian or Southern Baptist or any fundamentalist sense of the word. I was always a positive person. And then I remember one day at the age of 18, I met somebody on the train, a former classmate of mine, who started talking to me about his faith in God and introduced me, so to speak, to the Protestant religion and Protestant faith, and more specifically to the Seventh-day Adventist sect or cult. To me, this strange faith or religion or teaching was something quite new and a bit weird, I should say, and a novelty. And until that moment, I connected in my mind the Christian religion and the notion of the Christian faith only with Eastern Orthodox priests dressed in black robes and performing various priestly rituals at church. And the notion of church in my mind was always one of a brick and mortar building in the typical shape of the Eastern Orthodox church buildings or cathedrals, if it's a bigger one. And I'm not in any way of any typical Protestant congregations where a church would be called the gathering of people to pray together and worship their Protestant God. And then he invited me to attend the service in his Seventh-day Adventist church, and so I accepted. As a matter of fact, my former classmate was explaining to me about his God and how this God allegedly gives eternal life to whoever believes in him. And I think I kind of believed immediately as such a concept of an all-loving God who unconditionally gives you eternal life and lets you live forever with him after you die sounded quite attractive and appealing to me. And I think not only to me, but it does sound to pretty much everybody who is naive and who lacks critical thinking capacities, or at least they're not exercising their critical thinking capacities and being skeptic about everything what they're told and developing or practicing them. And now I must admit and say that I lack words to express how ashamed and embarrassed I feel because of my naivety or naiveness. I don't know how to say it. And I should probably rather say stupidity for having yielded to that indoctrination. The Christian religion totally and completely ruined and devastated my life and the lives of my family, my parents and grandparents. As I was reading the Bible more and more, various kind of thoughts popped in my mind, and I started to pose myself various and multiple questions. I kind of felt something didn't add up. Something somewhere was totally wrong, was contradictory and confusing. And I started to find numerous, as a matter of fact, hundreds of inconsistencies, of contradictions, of logical fallacies, I should say, and other stupidities and atrocities. The most part of the Bible appeared very dull and boring. And not only that, but there were some stories which were very, very annoying to me. So I will continue in part 2 with my story of how religion ruined my life. Thank you very much for listening.